And yesterday was a resignation galore from Mahmoud Yakubu of INEC to Uche Naji, Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology. I mean, when I saw Uche Naji's resignation, I asked myself, why do it now? Why didn't this man save himself the show of shame he has been putting on for quite some time now to step down, save his face, save that of his children, his generation? I mean, anyone attached to him would always have this display he's been putting up for quite some time now come up in a conversation. Posterity would always hold him accountable, hold his people accountable, because I mean the future would not forget, especially something as funny as the theatrics he's been putting on for quite some time now, blaming the Enugu state government for his misfortune, something I'd like to think he brought upon himself. But of course, we're going to talk about all of those again, because we've been talking about his problems for quite some time now. And of course, we're going to be taking a look at Mahmoud Yakubu's resignation and some other matters arising, especially with the debate yesterday concerning Nnamdi Kanu's access to medical care. My name is Chisom Chinedu. Good morning to you and welcome to the Polity on Udala Radio 104.7 FM. I'm not here alone. Franklin Ebuka is here with me as always. Good morning, Franklin.
Good morning, Chisom. Good morning to everybody listening to us this morning. And of course, yesterday was quite interesting, talking about developments in respect to Mahmoud Yakubu leaving his position as INEC chairman, and then Uche Naji resigning. And the quite unfortunate for Uche Naji, his letter of resignation was made public by Bayo Nanoga almost the same time. One consultant was leaving television where he was defending the certificate that was being paraded by Uche Naji. Then you now come to Anambra State, where yesterday we saw endorsement galore for the governor of Anambra State. 3 different groups endorsed the governor, including teachers, for second term. And I've been asking myself, these endorsements, I hope they are going to translate to something meaningful politically. And then we'll talk about Bernard Udemezu, who represents Ayamelon State constituency, who has been in the news again. People have been asking questions about his integrity, because after he was suspended, there was this kind of alliance between him and the YPP Guba candidate, where he said he was going to work for YPP Guba candidate. But now, guess what? He has switched his allegiance to APC Guba candidate, saying that he's the best thing that can happen to Anambra State. But guess what? This is the same man that he condemned in the heat of that issue he had with the State House. I can recall in one of his videos where he said that APC is a no-go area. Nobody should even think about it.
Let me tell you something else. This is also the same man who is talking to key stakeholders in his constituency to go reconcile him with the governor.
So can we call him a comedian?
He is a content creator.
Okay, content creator. All right. So Chisom said that he's a content creator, not me, because I don't want to find myself in the position that Rufai Oseni found himself with the Minister of Works, Devu Mahi, yesterday on television, where they were telling each other, keep quiet, keep quiet, keep quiet. And I was asking myself, what kind of interview is this? Two persons who were arrogant, talking to themselves, trying to see who is going to shout the other person down. So away from then something is brewing in Enugu State, because there is this very bird that has been singing for quite a long now. I'm talking about the bird that has been saying that APC in Enugu State. We have been hearing that the governor of Enugu State is going to go over to the APC, and yesterday the news was right that Governor Peter Mbao was in the presidential villa, where he had a meeting with the president to formalize his immediate defection to the APC. And for what we have heard so far, is going to happen tomorrow. And people are beginning to ask questions. They're beginning to plot their graphs, saying that they're asking if the resignation of Uche Naji or if what has befallen Uche Naji is a coincidence to the possible defection of the governor of Enugu State into the APC. Don't forget that Uche Naji has been a kind of an albatross to Mba's planned defection to the APC. So it appears as if that as Uche Naji is leaving, because of course this certificate saga this issue of certificate saga is going to affect him politically. and it's going to affect his chances of contesting for governorship in that very state using the APC. So people are trying to read meaning into what is happening now. It appears as if somebody is trying to clear the road for Mba for him to defect to the APC and be able to control the structures in preparation for the next gubernatorial election in that very state. So other interesting things that have happened, of course, we're going to take our time to look at all those things in the course of today's conversation.
Absolutely, we're going to take our time to talk about all of those in the course of today's conversation. And we're moving to our analyst, Ogaragidi. You look really different this morning.
The hype woman is on it again. You know what she does? By the time she hype you, definitely the world will come for you. Definitely, a lot of things will happen around you.
Good morning.
And your products and your services will be well promoted more than any other thing. Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, the good people of Southeast. Good morning, the Anambra. Good morning, Onitsha. Wherever you're listening to us from, it's always a pleasure to be here. And then we welcome you all, because what we do here, we just gather. It's more like a conclave where we look at things the way they are by looking at it from different perspectives and from different angles, using different lens, political lens, objective lens, and other lenses we have got. So just look at those things. And these things wouldn't have been possible if not for the mercy of Almighty God, who has made it possible for us always to be here. Profess the truth. We are the real professors, because what we do here is to profess the truth. We are the real professors, so that's what we do.
Is it the type of man he talked about yesterday?
I don't know about the one. We profess the truth. I don't know. I don't want to go into what happened yesterday between Omaya and Rufayo Seni, where you guys was the issue, and then you were a small boy and keep quiet and stuff like that. But these are things we see in the Polity. You're welcome once again, and let's do what we know how best to do. This is our sanctuary, and we're into the sanctuary. We are in the sanctuary.
All right, on our desk this morning, there is a Nigerian Tribune, The Nation, The Punch, and of course, we have the Guardian newspapers. And on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune, banner headline here is Certificate Scandal. Uche Naji resigns as minister. The story is on page 3. Ogun Airport records first commercial flight as NCAA approves operations in Ekiti Airport. On page 3 as well, Sanu Nasu to protest October 9 over FG's failure to meet demands. Find the story on page 10. ACF wants FG to protect Dangote refinery in nation's interest. On page 27, Oshun LG funds, Supreme Court reserves judgment in state suit against AGF. On page 4, Tinubu writes Senate withholds assent to 2 bills, says FG must prevent abuse of funds. On page 10. Above the nameplate of the paper, Inek Yakubu proceeds on terminal leave. Hands over to Agbamu Chembo. Tinubu honors him with national award. That's on page 26. New tax regime. FG targets relief for 98% of workers on page 6. And on the health column here, CDS ends universal recommendations for COVID-19 vaccine on page 10.
And over to the Nation newspaper, we have the headline here that says scheduled flights begin at Ogun Gateway Airport. The story is on page 8. It has a rider. NCAA certifies Ekiti Airport. Oyedele, 98% of workers to be exempted from PE. The story is on page 3. In fact, somebody said I can't wait for January next year to actually know those who were exempted from this very tax that has been talked about so much by government officials. Then this one says Supreme Court reserve judgment in Oshun Council Fund suit. The story is on page 30 of the Nation newspaper. Abamu Chembo is acting chair as Yakubu bows out of INEC. Check page 3 of the Nation newspaper. Another headline says beer industry seeks drop of tax stamp plan. Federal government to refinance expensive debt portfolios, says Edu, that's the coordinating minister of the economy. Federal lawmakers promise better deal for Nigerians. The story is on page 6. Natasha resumes at plenary, page 3 of the Nation newspaper. Certificate scandal, Naji resigns ministerial position. It has a rider. Decision due to sustained blackmail, persecution. President accepts resignation. Then the final headline on the front page of the Nation newspaper says FCCPC withdraws criminal charge against multi-choice chairman MD. The story is on page 6 of the Nation newspaper.
And from the Nation, we head over to the Punch newspaper. Banner headline here: Tinubu to pick new INEC chair this week. On page 2, Yakubu steps aside. President consults Council of State selection process under spotlight. And police pensioners rally for protests after talks collapse. On page 22, cultist skill 4 in Lagos, Ogun communities. On pages 4 and 5, Tinubu access to National Assembly bills over policy clash. On page 20, above the nameplate of the paper, displaced Borno residents recount Boko Haram invasion. On page 2, World Bank dismisses Nigeria's single-digit inflation target. On page 26, how Abbas intervention stalled minority leaders' impeachment. On page 28, Science Minister Naji resigns over a life certificate forgery. This is on page 28 as well.
All right, so over to the Ghana newspaper, we have the banner headline. It says North Central anxiety lingers over insecurity, fate of displaced persons. Check page 6 of the Ghana newspaper. Senate seeks 10 years passport ban for Nigerians convicted abroad. It's on page 3. New tax law exempts over 90% of Nigerians from PE, says Oyedele. It's on page 3 of Ghana newspaper. Alleged genocide. Congressman urges Tinubu, or rather urges Trump, to designate Nigeria country of particular concern. The story is on page 3. Cost of food production rose by 36% in 2025. The story is on page 26. We saw so NAERLS. Then Abbas Abia lawmaker clash over Nani Kano's health condition. The story is on page 4. Natasha returns to Senate after 6 months suspension. Check page 26 of the Nation newspaper. Power generation uptake dropped by 5% as discos lose 158 billion naira. It's on page 15 of the Guardian newspaper. And the last headline on the front page of the Guardian says 2027 Tinubu sheds political baggage as embattled minister Naji resigns. The story is on page 6. What a headline by Guardian. Tinubu sheds political baggage.
Of course, we are going to start off the conversation this morning with Jeffrey Naji's resignation, because it's been one conversation that has been on since Monday. The entire, I think it was Premium Times that first broke the news over the weekend about the controversies re-emerging from his supposed certificate truism. I mean, they talk about how the university delayed giving him his certificate and all of that. And presently, he has a matter in court asking the university to release his statement of result. Also, yesterday, we cited a report that mentioned that sometime in the past, he sent a letter to the institution asking to be permitted to write a course that he carried over in his final year. And so, at this point, we do not know if he eventually wrote the carryover. And if he has written the carryover, what is stopping his results from being compiled and released? But as it stands, the truth is that the institution has not given him any result. As much as everyone agrees that he was admitted into the institution in 1981, he did not satisfy everything he needed to put together to be awarded a certificate. And so he has something pending. And the question has always been, the certificate he's parading, where did he manufacture it from? Because obviously it is a fraud. But what baffles me, Tony, is how he keeps shifting from the goalpost. Up until yesterday, he was still even his reason for resigning. One of the things Onanuga cited is that Naji is a victim of political blackmail and manipulation. And I am wondering why, at this age and time, that is even coming into the conversation. And so if he's not being blackmailed, he would parade a fake certificate as a minister in a country where we are trying to realign values, a place where we are trying to make sure that people do the right thing. What manner of doing the wrong thing and coming to blame somebody else for doing the wrong thing is that, Tony?
I think this is politics, just like you mentioned, and then in politics everything goes. Remember, politics is more like a village square where you have the spectators, those who watch things the way they happen, and there are those who watch these things with vested interest, and those who would also ensure that you are pulled down, especially if you are in the arena. So this is the game. Remember what ADC and other opposition parties, what they have said on this issue. They have branded the government to be government of forgers, and nobody would want to creep in that very murky water. No matter what, we've seen situations where ministers indicted of wrongdoing, especially in the area of certificates, they resigned. Kemi Adeosun was the last person to have resigned over issue of NYC certificate scandal. And now it's Naji, and we know very well that, just like I said yesterday, your opposition or your opponent or whatever you call it will always try to exploit anything he sees as advantage on your own part, and that thing becomes disadvantage to you. It's important we know this. It's politics. And I say that if Bitamba orchestrated some of these things as alleged, that is politics for you. He is in contest with somebody, and being in contest with somebody also implies that they weigh their advantages and the disadvantages, knowing where to exploit and where not to exploit. If Naji were to be in the same shoe with, or to be in the shoes of Mba, he would have done the same thing. The point remains that Naji has been the reason Mba has not defected. The moment Mba lost the coup with PDP over the issue of the representatives of the Southeast, remember Anyanwu and Judo Okoye, thereabouts, Mba had thrown his weight behind Udokoye, but Wike had his way, and then he threatened that if Udokoye is not reinstated, that he may explore other options. Nobody listened, and he had at that point made up his mind. So the issue now is, he went to APC to make consultation because you must reconcile with the locals. You must be on the same page with the locals. It happened in Delta State, it happened in Akwa Ibom State. The two governors that defected to APC, they held series of meetings, stakeholders meeting, because once the governor comes in, he takes over the leadership structure of the party in that very state. He's not going to drag it with a minister. So Naji felt that he narrowly missed being a governor, and now you want to thwart his plans to challenge you full time in 2027. Both of them have been on such battle. They have been going on with such duel, and there was something left. People's Gazette was first to start this investigation in 2022, as we have said. Other days we have looked into this issue. Then People's Gazette, the response they got from UNN also indicated that he graduated. But when Premium Times began their own, UNN recounted, saying that they cannot confirm that he graduated. In fact, the Vice Chancellor personally wrote a letter saying that the university did not issue such certificate, and they couldn't have. From the registrar was saying that we cannot confirm he graduated. But according to Naji saying that this is pure political wish hunt. But the papers on ground also support the wish hunt. Is it not better to be wish hunt, or you want it to be wizard hunt? Which one do you take, wish hunt or wizard hunt? So the point remains that you did not graduate. And I listened to your consultant last night, the way and manner he was telling lies, and these things were very, very obvious. The court papers you could not provide, but he said that some of the court papers you were presented where he also agreed that he did not graduate or he did not receive his certificate, that those things were social media papers. How can you call court papers social media papers, because for you it's not on your own side? And he went on to also say that they are in court, and he was even asked that what if Mr. President asked the minister to resign. He said that Mr. President is not such kind of person. It's not in his character. Mr. President knows that this is a political witch hunt, that they are in court already to prove something, and they are saying that they want their transcript. See, even if you stop at your third year, you have transcript. If you stop at second year, you have transcript. I don't know what people think. Transcript is the courses you have taken and the results obtained from them. So if for you to have master's degree, they will measure if it is up to a certain GP and requirement. So what master's degree look at is the GP, and also ensure that it covers every year that study was meant to be undertaken. It covers first year, second year, third year, no matter how you vary it. Do you know that in university, you can enter university, you can decide to take courses that are meant for the third year and be doing it? People don't even know this. There are ways you can merge courses depending on university anyway, because there are some universities that will make it static, but there are some that will tell you they will look at the credit load. Most universities these days, what they are interested in, the credit, you cannot do beyond 25 unit credit load. You will not do beyond 30 units credit load. So their concern is the credit load. So they don't care if you decide to bring final year course or bring third year course and do when you are supposed to be doing second year courses. So the concern is do your second year courses. There are some that vary. So the point I'm trying to make is the issue of transcript will not in any way determine whether you graduated or not. The only thing that determines whether you graduated or not is the statement of result and certificate issued to you. And the university has come out to say that they did not do the ones that you were parading, and you went and do Oluwole. That's what you did. And in doing that Oluwole, you made mistakes. Look at the NYSC. How can you do NYSC for 14 months? Frank.
Special child.
How can you? NYSC is done for good 12 months and for benefit of hindsight. Let me tell you this. If you begin your service in the month of March, you will leave February. You will not repeat that March. People don't even know this. I don't know how we count months. If you begin in the month of March, you will not meet March again. You leave February the next year. That's the point I'm trying to make. So for it to be clear, if you are to begin your service year, let's say March 2025, right? You are to leave February 2026. You're not going to meet March 2026. But that Oluwole they did for him, he began his own in the month of April and left in the month of May, the upper year. So what it means that he did it for 14 months. The people that did the Oluwole did not even tell him that's not the way it's been done. So his months from when you start to a month below it when you will stop. They don't even know this. So the truth remains that I pity the man, the young man. Many people have done this. Many have been disgraced out, so it does not pay to forge a certificate.
All right. So Tony, you know that is this saying that he who the gods want to kill first makes him, makes him deaf. Now, I want us to look at how this thing has been handled so far, because for Uche Nnaji, he has maintained his innocence, saying that he resigned not because he was admitting guilt, rather he wants to uphold due process and respect the ongoing judicial process. And he also said that he doesn't want the government of the day to be distracted because of this certificate saga. That was why he decided to leave. And as he stands now, the only thing we have heard from the presidency is to press statement which was issued by Bayo Nanoga, almost at the point that the consultant to Uche Nnaji was leaving television station yesterday. So that's the communication we have heard so far from Mr. President, saying that the president has accepted the resignation of Uche Nnaji. We don't know what actually played inside. Do you think that Nnaji on his own chose to resign and leave the government so that he won't be a baggage for the government, as Ghana newspaper stated, or possibly he was pressured to resign because the government of the day might not want to entertain the baggage, knowing that the government itself has been suffering from the question of legitimacy, and also the president too has a question about his school credentials.
He was forced to resign. Just look at the scenario. You asked your consultant to defend you on one of the private televisions. So what was, and the consultant was asked the same question. What if Mr. President asked him to resign? The consultant replied that, Mr. President, will not do so. That is not in the manner of Mr. President. Mr. President has made everything open for him to prove himself. So he is in the process of proving himself. So how would Mr. President, who has asked him to prove himself, on the other hand, ask him to resign? The consultant was making those statements. He did not finish making the statement before he could even call the principal that asked him to go on television to defend him. He never knew that while he was on television defending the principal, the call has come from the secretary to the government of the federation that Mr. President has directed that he resigns, and he submits his resignation letter immediately. In fact, he may not need to write a letter. The letter will be written for him. And just like,
just like the way this guy was shipped out, I'm trying to remember his name. The guy who was sometimes dragging, fighting for power with Onanoga. Trying to recall his name. The guy who was sometime on television.
You are talking about the special advisor to Mr. President media.
Exactly.
The young man that looks like half cash.
Because he said he was proceeding on leave and he's going to return later. But since then, later we got to know that because of the internal bickering they were having, he was eased out. So perhaps that also happened to Uchennaji. Now, Tony, I want us to also look at this very area because this certificate saga involving Uchennaji, erstwhile Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation, I'm trying to look at what this insists about the kind of oversight that the legislature does here in Nigeria, because before he took on this very appointment, his credentials were sent to the National Assembly for verification, screening, and the confirmation, and also sent to DSS. And all of them, in good conscience, they cleared him. And today, this thing started. Don't forget that.
It started in 2023.
No, I'm talking about what we have now. Don't forget that the probe into his certificates, like Chisom said, began years back. After he was confirmed and sworn in, people raised concern that, this man might not have genuine certificates. And then that was why Gazette took it up before Parliamentarians came in. And from what Parliamentarians explained, it took them several times, even to the point of paying some money just for them to get what they are looking for until this very moment. So what does this say about that very oversight function that we expect from legislature, and also we expect from DSS, who's supposed to do security vetting and other things? If they're not doing that very job, is there still need for this confirmation by the legislature on certain appointments we have in Nigeria?
Remember, when you talk about screening, there are things you screen. DSS is coming from the angle of security screening. So that's the angle they're coming from.
And the legislature that cleared him.
They are coming from every aspect.
So who do we put this loophole on now?
I'm gonna put it on the legislation. DSS is coming from
security clearance.
Security clearance. That's what they're doing. They're not doing academic clearance for you. So once they have looked at your undertakings in the past, businesses you've done, and at the same time, if you pose security threat or a security concern of somebody with grievous concern, or maybe you are actions in the countries you have visited, because there are many people who have gone to different countries, committed one crime or the other, they close it up. They will they will go through your passport and look at the countries you have visited, and possibly through the embassy of those countries you have visited, and asked if you have committed any crime in those countries. That's what DSS does. Through your passports, look at countries you visited, businesses you've done. That is security clearance. So it is now left for the National Assembly, the Senate, because that's the only chamber that clears ministers, to also look at documents presented, your behavior politically. Have you been convicted? Because the DSS will also look at if you have been convicted or not of any crime, what was the nature of the crime, and if you are speaking to terrorists, the people you are close to, if you belong or you have dual citizenship, things like that. But the Senate, because these are the people that will go through your documents, some of them, once you stand there to be cleared, the clerk will make sure that he photocopy all the documents, their certificates, their qualifications, and share to every senator. They will have it. But for me, it is analog, manual. Even the proceedings at the Senate, if our present National Assembly, their proceedings are not digitized.
Do they actually make moves to vet, or they just look at the papers and say, okay, he has SSCE, he has NYC certificate, and that's all? Do they make the extra effort to go to those institutions to verify? Why am I asking this very question, Tony? Do you know that here in Nigeria, I have received calls and emails from not less than 3 international bodies asking me about people I wrote reference letter for. Now, people who were in Nigeria and they traveled, got to UK, Canada, and got jobs, and I had to write reference letter for them, and I got calls and email from these very people asking me questions, what I know about them, if they were actually working with me or working with our firm before they left this country. Now, I'm telling you the extra mile these people go to vet, to get to know the person they are going to deal with. But in our own case, I don't know how many of these institutions who go the extra mile to vet these people whose names are brought before them for the job of leading leaders in this other country.
Just like you said, we lack such culture in this country. Whatever anybody parades because what he has is wrong. Institutions don't vet. I'm just saying, Uchenna is not the only cabinet member that may have forged certificates. There are about how many? 40 of them. Go through the certificate of each and every one of them. He is just, I wouldn't say a scapegoat, but it's just one of the examples. Just like I was saying, educational and credential verification, Senate should send it straight to if it's WAEC as a body, NECO as a body, NYC as a body, the university involved as a body. That is the way it should be. In fact, in the United States of America, if Trump makes an appointment, definitely FBI will screen you. Then you have ethics and integrity screening, which is handled by agencies like, there are so many agencies in US, but in fact in Nigeria, we may also have these agencies like EFCC, Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offenses Commission, ICPC, and Code of Conduct Bureau. They should check for corruption allegations, asset declarations, and adherence to the Code of Conduct for public officers, and past involvement in fraud, bribery, embezzlement, or abuse of office. These are things they don't look at these things. These things are those in favor say aye. Some of them will be sleeping and saying aye. Those against say nay. There are those who are snoring while the nay is going on, and the presiding officer will say the ayes have it. Wham! And that's all. That's all we do, and that's what the taxpayers, their money is being used for ayes and nays. See, if we are serious in this country, things like this wouldn't. If a minister knows that his certificate will be verified, even if he goes to the institution to bribe his way, that I'm a nominee for ministerial post, I know that they will come back to this institution. Do as much as you can to cover me up. They will want to find out if I graduated. Some of them will bribe these institutions. What does it take? Bribe the registrar, and the registrar possibly will make the VC to be in the know. Even if you go through this kind of screening, because of the nature of institutions we have in this country, some of them will bribe these institutions because these institutions, they need money.
So I'll ask you a question, Tony. Is it a case of or maybe he doesn't know how? Because I mean, forgive me, I'm not criminally minded, but if you really want to clean things, you better clean it real. So what stops him from probably going to the unit and say, you know what, let me pay for this course to be written off? Yes, since he wants to do mago, and he gets a clean certificate. It's one course, so since last I checked. So why did I mean, what I see here is a case of a man whom the gods want to kill and they first make mad, because there are so many ways a man, I mean, Uche Nachison is even better. He was in school, he had one missing what carryover, keeping the result back. Some people never went to school. Some went to Benin Republic to manufacture certificates in 4 days. And so if Uche Naji, is it a case of him not being properly advised? I mean, we often have these people not even sitting their own examinations. So why would he just clean this good if he really wanted to clean it?
I think my concern is you said the last you check it was one course.
That's what we were told.
That's what we are told.
From the reports I saw.
From the report.
A 400 level course, actually.
But if that be the case, I bet you he could have even hired the mercenary to do that.
That's what
a mercenary may have done that.
Think in that way.
Probably it might not really be what we are being told, because the idea is he did not graduate. I remember when Peter Mbeki, the governor of Enugu State, remember he had his own share of scandal. Peter Mbeki, the governor of Enugu State, when he was declared governor, the opposition said that the NYSC he submitted to, this NYSC certificate he submitted to INEC, was not issued by NYSC. That it was forged one. In fact, our NYSC then, through its Director General of Core Certification, claimed that the certificate presented by Mbeki, which he presented to INEC, was not issued by them. They even questioned its authenticity. And in February 2023, the Core issued a letter of disclaimer to that effect. And look at what Mbeki did. Mbeki contested a claim stating that he was mobilized for NYC in 2001, that is 2001, but took a break to attend the Nigerian Law School and returned thereafter to complete the service in 2003, that's 2003. And he went further to say that the certificate number given to him, he stated it, that the bore 6th January 2003, which he submitted to INEC. But then, INEC, remember, is just there. INEC cannot disqualify. But part of the argument was that NYC had approved his deferral from 2001 down to 2003 to sit for the bar, and that he resumed afterward to finish the service. So these things we are presented in court, but Mbeki sued NYC. Remember, in the case of Uche Naji asked the court to permit UNN to bring the transcript. Why didn't you sue UNN? You could have sued UNN for damages, collateral damages. But your own suit was to compel them to bring their transcript, and which I said here, transcript does not determine graduating or not. But what Mbeki did was to sue NYC and the director of core certification, the director of the core certification, in a 20 billion naira suit, which I followed, because according to him, it was a case of conspiracy, deceit, and misrepresentation. And then there was some voices in the wilderness that said that Naji was behind Mbeki's case, because he was looking for a way to ensure that Mbeki is disqualified by court, so that as the runner-up to the election, he will become the governor. There was argument that he was the one fueling everything on the sideline to bring him back down.
So this is tit for tat. That
is what it's like. Then the whole thing started, and then before you know it, the court ruled.
So is there a coincidence with
the court ruled?
Is there a coincidence with the fact that Uche Naji resigned yesterday over forged certificate? It was the same yesterday that Mbeki was at the presidential villa, where it was reported that he went to finalize his move into the APC.
That is what it is. You've said it all. These two persons have been in this battle, and it could be that Uche Naji started it. Mbeki was on his own, and you said he submitted a fake NYC certificate to INEC. In fact, to the point that NYC Director General also issued a statement saying that what Mbeki had was not from them. And it went to Justice Iyank Ekwo. I remember now. It was Justice Iyank Ekwo that sometime around 6th November 2003 who held that NYC certificate tendered by Mbeki is authentic. It awarded 5 million damages. Mbeki had sued for 20 billion against NYC.
But I'm just asking.
So the point is, Mbeki was able to prove his own case. That yes, I started in 2001, but I applied for deferral, which NYC obliged, and I came back in 2003 to complete it.
So the question at this point, Tony, is the person who first signed NYSC's letter rejecting the certificate Mba had, on what grounds? And do we even get to punish people who do things like this? Because I recall that in the case of Uche Naji, there was also a statement coming from the institution here he claimed he got certified from, claiming that the certificate is authentic. And then at some point, there was a recant that, oh, this wasn't issued by us. Don't we get to punish people who get embroiled in messes like this?
I remember in the first case, what UNN said, that they can confirm, according to the inquiries made by People's Gazette, that they can confirm that he was admitted in the institution. So they said they can confirm he was a student. That he was
cannot confirm if he graduated.
But they did not add that clause.
Okay.
They did not add that. They were very clever. They said we can confirm, depending on the inquiries and queries you put forward, that they can confirm he was a student of so year at so time. So they confirmed that. So, but Premium Times was not satisfied because People's Gazette did not capture the exact query. Exact query could have been, did he graduate? Not was he a student? Not was he admitted? So it was to expand the scope.
And Anthony, also, even apart from graduating, was he issued a certificate? Because I know people can leave school because of one thing or the other, maybe involvement in court activity. School might decide to withhold your certificate.
Exactly. So the truth remains,
or even malpractice.
The truth remains that the second query put to UNN, they now said that they cannot confirm, according to the registrar. The registrar ended up saying they cannot confirm. Then the VC wrote that the certificate issued, the one Mba was parading, the one Naji was parading, was not from the school. And we are told, according to the consultant, that Mba was instrumental in Otoanya being appointed VC of the UNN. So what it means is that Peter Mba is more like the, what do you call it, benefactor to the VC.
But then the truth of the matter is what we are after now, because a lot of times governors have a say,
during some of these things
on disappointment. So I think it's immaterial at this point. The question would be, what effort is Nnaji making to clear his name? This idea of running around like a headless chicken, talking about blackmail, is not the answer to the question.
If I were him, he should sue UNN, because exactly what Mba did. Mba sued Brigadier General Yochua Dogara Ahmed.
If he believes he has a case,
yes, he should not tell UNN to produce transcript. That's rubbish. That's rubbish.
Okay.
Sue UNN for damages for saying that you forged us, because he's not going in that direction. Just like you said, Chisom. Yes, it could be Mba was instrumental in the appointment of Professor Otoanya. That was just Otoanya couldn't have said otherwise if the records were to say that he graduated. So it becomes an avenue to also pay for his loyalty. But the key thing is why these things were happening. Mba was at the presidential villa, meeting with the president to finalize it. In fact, president also informed Mba that this man will be resigning. And Mba said, you started this. I was on my own because of governorship. You started by saying I did not, this NYC certificate I presented was forged. And I was able to prove my own. And they did not even appeal the judgment of Justice Iyan Geku.
Yes, so the truth is this, whether it was a witch hunt or not.
Wizard hunt.
The fact is that, do you have it or you don't have it?
Yes or no?
Exactly.
This life no balance. We wake up early, work hard, sleep late. Then we do it over and over again in the pursuit of success. The hustle is the hustle, but you got to shine your eyes. Good or bad, one call can change everything. The hustle got you here, but the right call takes you there. True caller, take the right call.
On the move again, on the move again. Anambra is Abga, on the move again. Abga is Anambra, on the move again. Saludo is our choice, oh, on the move again. Good road, Ideo, free education, Ideo, quality healthcare service, Ideo, new government house for lighthouse or Kadua, solution fund city, Okoko New Heaven, better security, many better life project. On the move again, Anambra is Abga, Abga is Anambra, Soludo is our choice.
On November 8th, vote for continuity and more development. Vote the Soludo Ibezim ticket. Let the solution continue. Abga, Onyaga na Wanneya. Vote Okuko.
People of Upo and the entire Anambra State, get ready for a life-changing apostolic invasion. It's Upo City-wide crusade, powered by Upo Christian Association, with the Restoration Apostle Johnson Suleiman, live in Anambra State. A divine awakening for signs and wonders. Come and witness the mighty miracles of God in a prophetic atmosphere like never before. Upo City-wide crusade. Theme: the Lord, He is God. It will also feature anointed songs ministrations by Ambassador Chinyere Odoma and Minister Adrian Alex. The date is Tuesday, 28th of October at 4 p.m. and Wednesday, 29th of October 2025 at 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. And it will be happening live at Walter Eze Memorial Secondary School Field, former Boys Secondary School, opposite All Saints Anglican Church, Upo Dunukofia Local Government Area of Anambra State. For inquiries, call 0903 952 1048 or 0806 297 8399. Please note that there will be free transportation to the crusade ground. Upo City-wide crusade. Come in faith and you shall see the power of God.
Quality bread, Wendy's bread, for your family breakfast. Wendy's bread. Wendy's bread. Mama, papa, they like Wendy's bread. Wendy's bread. Even children, they like Wendy's bread. Wendy's bread. Wendy's bread. Get it better, tasty, we go sweet your belly. Wendy's bread. Wendy's your bachichoma. Wendy's bread, the champion.
Wendy's bread, your tasty bread. You can contact us on our official address, Second Business Park, Enugu Road, GRA, beside Onitsha, Anambra State. We also have another branch at St. Michael Plaza at Tandy Road. Also contact us on 070-1149-1571. Wendy's bread, your tasty bread.
Wendy's bread.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
You're listening to The Polity. Get involved now.
We're still on The Polity on Udala Radio 104.7 FM and still on resignation matters. Mahmoud Yakubu stepped down yesterday. His tenure was actually supposed to expire on the 9th of November this year, and that's about approximately a month and a day from today. But yesterday, he stepped aside. He was appointed first in November 2015, tenure renewed in 2020, and 10 years later, he said he's stepping aside so that the transition process would be smooth. He said also that his tenure has seen a lot of changes, a lot of innovations, and he believes that the person who is going to take over the realm of affairs would be able to handle things, to even bring about better changes. He was also honored by the president, who conferred on him the commander of the Order of the Niger, that's CON, yesterday. Tony, I've been trying to understand why he had to resign. He has 1 month. We were expecting that he would finish up with at least the Anambra State election before stepping aside.
Let's be honest, he did not resign. He proceeded on terminal leave.
Okay.
He proceeded on terminal leave, and he
What
was
difference
asked.
does that make?
He was asked to proceed on terminal leave. For those in civil service, once you are either your tenure or you are getting close to your retirement, most times you begin your terminal leave. I think it's one of the civil service procedure. So to allow you time to vacate and enjoy your vacation. But it's not so for those that have political appointments. We must separate the two. Sometimes civil service rule does not cover certain political appointments or political appointees, as the case may be. The position of INEC chairman is political appointment, so it's not covered by civil service rule, as the case may be. And then if you have a political appointment that is tenured, as Mahmoud had before he proceeded on terminal leave, you can only proceed on that leave if it's directed by the president, the person that appointed you. Ordinarily, you will stay till the last day of your tenure, because it's tenured. If you go by electoral act, if you go by the constitution, there shall be the office of the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission for a renewable tenure of 5 years, not exceeding second term. Even Abamuche, as we speak right now, by 2026, she will complete her second tenure. Abamuche wouldn't have made it in 2021. Buhari had nominated Loretta Onochie. Abamuche was appointed by Buhari in 2016 first, but Buhari never wanted to renew her own appointment. Buhari wanted to replace her with Loretta Onochie, but the Senate failed to confirm Loretta Onochie, citing partisanship, because Loretta Onochie had on Twitter, as it was called then, paraded her party as APC, mobilizing support for APC, doing everything for APC, and then also proved that she was a card-carrying member of APC. And for you to be appointed a national commissioner, you must be non-partisan. You must not belong to a political party. So it was the opposition that drew the attention of Ahmed Lawan, even when Ahmed Lawan had moved into closed section to ensure that the president nominee has a way. He was reminded that he was setting a dangerous precedent. Yes, you cannot just say that whatever Mr. President wants is good for Nigeria. Remember, it was Ahmad Lawan that said that whatever President Muhammadu Buhari wanted is good for Nigeria. Femi Gbajabamila said it's better to be rubber stamp than to fight President Muhammadu Buhari. Now, but it was one of the things Muhammadu Buhari did that opposition rose and said it will be against the law, and they were ready to challenge it in court, that Loretta Onochie was a member of APC and they want to appoint her as National Commissioner for INEC. And then with that controversy, Mr. President was communicated. Once Mr. President was communicated, what Mr. President did was to renew Abamuche's tenure. Abamuche is from Delta State. Loretta Onochie is from Delta State. So they are taking the slot of Delta State. So that's what Mr. President. So Abamuche was, her own tenure was renewed for another period of 5 years, starting from 2021. So she will be completing her tenure next year, 2026. So she's holding this in acting capacity. We know who Mr. President wants to appoint. In fact, the Council of State meeting, I saw the circular from the office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation to the Permanent Secretary directing that there shall be such a Council of State meeting. And Mr. President wants to present the new nominee, INEC chairman, before the council. And once he does that, the next will be announcements. So the important thing is, you ask the question, why did Mahmoud Yakubu, why did he resign? And I said he did not resign. Mr. President asked him to embark on terminal leave. Very rare anyway, because he could have allowed him to stay there till the last minute. But according to some insider stories, why he asked him to do that was that Hope Uzodimma met Mr. President, the chairman of the Governors Forum, and told Mr. President, why would Mahmoud Yakubu register political parties when he knew he was about leaving? That he could have allowed that tax for the next person who is coming to take over from him. That he did it in a very hasty manner that reeks of suspicion. that opposition must have prevailed on him to register more political parties. And for him, it was not a good development for APC, according to insider story. And Mr. President was not pleased with such attitude of Mahmoud Yakubu. He has done well for Mr. President. At least the past records shows that he has done well. But why were you in a rush to register parties like ADA? And
was he really in a rush? Because what does the Constitution say about those registrations?
According to those who believe he was in a rush, you ask the important question: was he really? He was never in a rush. He looked at the requirement of the law. Did these political associations satisfy certain requirements? Then they did. What did the law say? Get them registered. Has he the power to do so? The answer is yes. Is he within his tenure? The answer is yes. So,
what are the implications?
No implication. The implication was that somebody or some group of people, I won't want to say APC, some group of people within APC, we are not okay with it. No, we're not okay with it.
Okay, so Tony, you can recall that should be around September 23, 22. There was this report that Mr. President had asked Mahmoud Yakubu to proceed on terminal leave. We discussed it here, and we are talking.
It was on a rumor.
Yeah,
at that point.
It was put in the realm of rumor, but we discussed it here. You're talking about the possibility of that happening or not happening. And now, from what you have seen, it appears as if it's like a confirmation that he was actually asked to proceed on terminal leave. But what we can extrapolate is this, because this is like a system that has come in now from the president, which, if it's not challenged, it can happen to another person. Because I know that some lawyers have even raised question on whether the president has the constitutional power to ask INEC chairman to proceed on a terminal leave. Just like Tony pointed out, his appointment is not governed by civil service rule. So if he's not governed by civil service rule and he's been asked to proceed on terminal leave to make room for the so-called smooth transition from his time to a new person, do you think that this is what could be challenged in court to know whether the president has that very right to hire and fire in the manner that this happened?
The court, if it is presented before the court, I'll be very much interested. Remember, Jonathan did the same thing during the time of Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, the former governor of Central Bank. And for you to be governor of Central Bank is tenured. You have 5-year tenure, but it's renewable. But because of the crisis at that time, where Sanusi was shouting $20 billion not remitted by NNPC, where is the money? And then opposition catched in, and it was in the heat of 2015 general election, some months before that election, and likes of Kwankwaso, likes of Atiku Abubakar, Rotimi Chimika Amechi, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who wasn't a president then, and many of them felt that it was a good grant for them to continue the onslaught against Jonathan. And Jonathan was advised, why do you keep this man who seems to have joined opposition to bring down their government? And Jonathan directed Lamido Sanusi, who at that point had about 3 months or thereabout before his tenure will expire, to proceed on terminal leave. Jonathan did it. So, but just like you said, and for you to be a governor of Central Bank is one of the, I think it's a political appointment as well. But that one, some people have argued that that office is covered by civil service rule. But just like you raised, Franklin, I would want that to be challenged in court so that the court will tell us if the president has power to ask an appointee, a political appointee who has a tenure, not firing. The president can hire and fire, there's no doubt. But to proceed on a terminal leave.
But we know that nobody is going to court on this matter.
Nobody may want to go, but there are some people that will even challenge it. But our course, what they do these days, if you come, they will tell you lack local standing. So go back and So I would want situation where this is challenged. But if you ask me, my honest opinion, I don't think Mr. President has such powers to ask such person to proceed on a terminal leave. But let's see what will come up from Professor George Ojo Mopetan.
Is it the one who's being touted?
He's the one being touted.
Speculations, please.
Now you mentioned that speculation. Let me even put up this very question, because now that we have Yakubu out of way, so to say, because I know many persons who were thinking that Yakubu is going to conduct the Anambra Gubernatorial election come November 8, 2025, but now he's out of the way. and when I have INEC being managed by Abamuche, which I do not know whether she's going to be the one to supervise the election, or if we're going to have a new chairman before then. So do you think that this very transition is going to have any impact on Anambra Guba election?
I don't think, because for the fact that the Guba election, the INEC chairman is not a returning officer.
Okay.
But he was actually going to appoint somebody who is going to be a returning officer.
Well, Abamuchembu, if she still is there by
But
then.
I don't think she may be there before the election. So we are looking likely that Amaputan may.
Isn't that going to be a hasty appointment? I mean, has the process for the screening and everything, the nomination, has already started?
Definitely. Everything is going underground. But the point remains that he has to wait until the last day of
That means somebody has to be acting.
Yes, until the last day of Yakubu Makbu. Even if Mr. President wants to appoint him, he can't take off because somebody's tenure is still running.
So are you
the
saying
person has been asked to proceed on timely leave. So Abamuche comes in now to cover up the remaining part of Mahmoud's tenure, and then Amopitan possibly, as been touted, speculated, takes over from Abamuche.
So most likely Abamuche Mbu is going to be in charge. She's going to appoint the
Definitely
person who would return for
from
Anambra.
from the look of things, just like you said, Abamuche may be the one that will appoint the returning officer.
So Tony, what about because why I asked this very question is the personality of the leader of different institutions we have in Nigeria always have a way of playing out in what they do. So let's assume that Yakubu didn't have any interest in Anambra election. He doesn't have any pecuniary interest in Anambra election, and the person who is going to supervise now his absence has pecuniary election. You don't think he's going to have any kind of collaboration on the election?
Remember, both of them must have worked together. Abamuche, National Commissioner, and then you have Mahmoud. Remember, her National Commissioner role was more like verification of certificates, or those Lego something. That was the role she was holding for INEC. But they have close relationship. If both of them are close, Mahmoud Yakubu can also influence the choice of a decision unless she's such an independent person. So it's governorship election, and the returning officer will be the person that will do the return.
All right.
The resident electoral commissioner who has been there will work with the returning officer to ensure the prosecution of the election.
All right. So the president gave him national honor, and it didn't sit well with some sections of Nigeria being asking on what ground was he awarded, given a national honor. Now, my question is, was Mahmoud Yakubu that woeful as INEC chairman as he's being painted? Is he being judged unfairly? Maybe with one election, the one we had last time, which no thanks to the way that INEC handled the issue of IREV and the transmission of results from polling unit to the IREV. Don't forget that this very man supervised two different elections, or two different general elections, and at the same time managed some other by-elections and the run of elections. And within his time, it was under his watch that we introduced the BVAS and the IREV. Now, if we begin to compare the innovations he brought into our election with what Jega brought in, so how do we now situate it that is he that wordful as an INEC chairman?
Innovation,
or was he that
effectiveness of the innovations,
as INEC chairman?
I think he expanded what Jega started. Jega started the digitization of electoral process. Yakubu, just like you mentioned, brought in BVAS. But before BVAS, that was what we are using.
Card reader.
We are using card reader. It was Jega that introduced card reader. Card reader will always read for verification, voter.
The authenticity of your voter card.
Exactly. But then this man brought bimodal, using face, fingerprints and all that. So the key thing is, he, just like I said the last time we talked about him, he's the only INEC chairman to serve full tenure. Nobody has done it.
All right.
In the history. So he, just like we said, he brought the bimodal voter accreditation system. He launched the INEC result viewing portal IREV, which many celebrated, thought that it would be used during the 2023 election. In fact, he deployed a more robust register and devices like iVed, digital platforms, and he did some of those things, but these things couldn't transform or bring it back voter confidence, being that these things were used in parts and they were used as experimental tools.
All right.
They were not used for. So, for me, normal thing, putting more voters, remove put the political parties and put in more political parties, things like that. So, but he introduced glitches in our electoral lexicography. We never knew anything glitches. He introduced glitches. So we now know that if something doesn't work the way it should work, what was the reason? Glitches. He introduced it. So we
need to move on to other matters.
We clap for him for introducing glitches in our electoral system. But was it worthful? Fair, you can judge him fairly.
Okay.
You can judge him fairly, or in fact, on average, 50 over 100 or 5 over 10.
All right, Tony.
So that's my judgment for you.
Tony has judged Yakubu Mahmood fairly. Fingers crossed in the coming days. We'll see what becomes of the INEC and, of course, who eventually takes over the helm of affairs. Also warming up for Anambra 2025, 8th of November. And let's see who takes charge and who is eventually appointed.
It is a fundamental human right that should be ascribed to Mazin Nnamdi Kanu. Most other people in that gap have been given opportunities to even travel overseas to seek medical attention. Mazin Nnamdi Kanu is neither convicted of any crimes in Nigeria and must be protected under the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So, Mr. Speaker, a lot of progress have been made in order to see that the government does the right thing to be able to afford Mazin Nnamdi Kanu the urgent treatment that he needs. It's significant, Mr. Speaker. If otherwise.
My dear honorable colleague.
Yes, sir.
I do not see where your privilege is conflicted here.
I have not received a letter that I wrote to the Speaker. I'm a member of the House, and my office deserves a response, whether it's positive or not.
But
as a member, and the letters were received by your office on the 27th of August, right here.
Is the letter you wrote to Mr. Speaker's office just a notification?
Not a notification,
or a demand for a certain action to be taken?
Yes, we requested for a certain action, which was to intervene in the medical condition of Mazin Nnamdi Kanu, whom is now, his health condition is deteriorating.
If it is something specific to the office of the Speaker, Honorable, I find it a little bit intriguing that you will come by way of a privilege to demand action to be taken.
Mr. Speaker, the letter was written.
Speaker that you have direct
Mr. Speaker, the letter was written since August 26th.
You have.
All right, those were the exchanges yesterday between the House member representing Ikuano Umuahia North and Umuahia South Federal Constituency, Honorable Obi Agwocha, and the Speaker, Tajuddin Abbas, concerning that need for Nnamdi Kanu to have access to medical attention. And in the course of that conversation, the Speaker was saying that Honorable Agwocha could have explicitly come to him. I mean, he runs an open door policy. But Honorable Agwocha was saying that he wrote a letter, and that letter he hasn't gotten a response to. And so this situation concerning Nnamdi Kanu's access to healthcare is one that has been on for quite some time now, Tony. The back and forth, the talks about his health condition deteriorating, and like Agwocha cited, the fact that people in situations like his in the past in the same country have gotten access to healthcare. Why is his being denied?
Let's begin with what happened yesterday. Yesterday during the plenary section, and I must commend the House of Representative member, Honorable Obi Agwocha, who represents the good people of Ikuano, Umuahia North, and Umuahia South Federal Constituency of Abia State. He raised a point of privilege in the House of Representatives, arguing that a letter he sent sometime around August 26 to the Speaker, the Attorney General Lateef Fagbemi, and the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu concerning the Nnamdi Kanu's worsening health condition have not been responded to. He asked the Speaker to ensure that the House treats Nnamdi Kanu's health condition as urgent, saying it was a matter of life and death, and asserting that Kanu, who has not been convicted, should not be allowed to die in custody without adequate medical attention. He went further to appeal that this is a case of fundamental human rights issue, not a political maneuver. and said medical reports, including from the Nigerian Medical Association, show that Nnamdi Kanu has organ deficiencies, very low potassiums, and in fact, so many things that was presented before Justice Omotosho. But he actually wanted parliamentary oversight, or at least a response via the Speaker's office regarding the letter he submitted and about what has been done or is being done to ensure Kanus get medical treatment. But the Speaker, Abbas Tajudeen, yesterday responded that he does not see where the privilege is sought to is in conflict. And also, the argument that he has never responded to his letter, he could have met him one-on-one, he could have seen him, and he said he has been to his office several times. But each time he goes there, people will be clouding that very place. And then he is so much concerned about the letter being responded to. Mr. Speaker got angry with his kind of appeal, his manner of appeal, saying that you don't make it look as if I'm sitting on this. Because he is asking the House to cause an oversight to Mr. President, to the office of the Attorney General of the Federation, that Nnamdi Kanu be allowed to go for treatment. That somebody cannot be standing trial. Why having organ deficiency? That you must be alive to stand trial. If somebody who is alive stands trial. I remember the argument made by DSS at the last hearing that their own doctor had come, performed their own examination, and discovered that what the defense, that's Nnamdi Kanu's team, what they were saying is not true. That their own doctors have confirmed that Nnamdi Kanu has no organ deficiency, as claimed by Nnamdi Kanu's legal team. But I remember the judge who ruled that Nigerian Medical Association and then the other agencies he pointed to, that they should conduct and then get back to him on the true situation of things. This is where we find ourselves, and that's where Obi Agwocha is not happy. And I also heard it on the good note that there seems to be a protest by some caucus at the National Assembly over this issue. But Benjamin Kanu, the Deputy Speaker, waded into that exchanges yesterday and appealed to Mr. Speaker to understand the point, to understand where Obi Agwocha was coming from. The Speaker said he had nothing with where he's coming from. That if this thing is properly presented, definitely that the House will do what it's supposed to do, and the House will provide every opportunity for the presentation. But he was just that Obi Agwocha was trying to indict him before Nigerians, as if he's sitting on this issue over the need for the House to cost the president through the Attorney General of Federation, so that DSS should be allowed, or DSS should allow Nnamdi Kanu for medical treatment. I think that was exactly what happened yesterday.
Sterling, just a quick one, because if you go through what Obi Agwocha said yesterday, he said that 3 different medical reports have confirmed that Kanu has a medical condition that needs to be attended to, and he included the medical report of the NMA, which was ordered by court, in what he said. But as I talked to you this very morning, IPOB has dismissed or has rejected the medical report which was turned in by the NMA. As you speak now, we haven't seen the content, but the report is with the AGF. So I don't know if IPOB is privy to the content of that very medical report, why they are rejecting that. Yesterday, we heard that members of the State House Assembly said they're going to go to Abuja to protest to ensure that this gets urgent attention. Then there's something I also want to draw our attention this very morning. I mean, that is what Showore said this very morning. Showore said he's going to put aside his differences with Kanu. That anybody who has been talking about Kanu, anybody who has been saying that Kanu should be released, or anybody who said that they have been making consultations for the release of Kanu, that if they are serious, that they should all come to Aso Rock, that he's going to lead the way. They are going to go to Aso Rock, occupy Aso Rock, so that Kanu is going to be released. How do you see this very challenge being thrown by Showore?
Remember, Showore is more like a content creator in some aspect. There are times he will be serious. The truth remains that he has been having issues with P2B over Nnamdi Kanu. each time he wants to condemn P2B, or he has called IPOB names, headless move up, and so many things. But now he says that he's going to drop all those things so that he will lead the protest or march out the protest to Aso Rock. And he knows very well that if it comes to 3-arm zone, if you have been to 3-arm zone, the executive, the judiciary, and the legislature, in fact, there are points you will be barricaded. You will not even be allowed to make a movement. So I don't know where is he going to conduct the protest on the vacuum, or I don't know how he's going to do it. But the point I'm trying to make is this: I remember the trial judge, Justice James Omotosho of the Federal High Court Abuja, had asked Nigerian Medical Association to conduct medical text on Nnamdi Kanu over the arguments brought forward by Kanu's legal team and DSS also legal team. So DSS say they have had their own. What the other side what they are saying is not true, it's untrue. And it was what forced James Omotosho to direct the Nigerian Medical Association to have such examination and bring it before him within the specified period. So just like you said, probably the examination must have been concluded. I don't know how Agwacha Obi got to know about the content of the medical report from NMA, but he cited that there is grievous danger that many people are not seeing. That Kanu is low on potassium, low on many things. He's having organ failures, and he has been there since 2021.
So what happens now, Tony? What happens now?
I don't see why it's difficult for the government at the center to order that somebody who is in custody be allowed to undertake medical treatment in Nigeria. What is big? The thing is, once I think the argument of DSS, because if you look at Kanu's team, the argument is that he should be allowed to go to National Hospital in Abuja for medical treatment. DSS argues that if Kanu goes there, it will be a security risk. That a lot of people over there that are having treatment, their place will be mobbed by the people. There will be service disruption. There will be security concern. That is going to be a big security risk.
Can it not be done in secret?
That is another thing, because the argument is allow Kanu to go to National Hospital for medical treatment. Let certain organs, kidney, liver, some of these things be tested. But the DSS argument is that these things have been done. They have the best specialists, according to them. That's what DSS said. They have the best of medical doctors. They have the best of specialists that even the National Hospital do not have. And
so
these people have done those things.
Who's telling the lie now? Because 3 reports say he has issues that need to be attended to, and the DSS is saying their own reports say he's been certified healthy. Who is telling the lie here now?
So this is according to what Obiako just said, because as I speak, because for me, I'm speaking to the facts available to me as we speak now. Nobody has spoken about the content of the latest medical check that was done by NMA.
Yeah, okay.
Nobody has spoken about it. Like what I said this very morning, if you check papers, you see the reaction which was made by Ifeanyi Ejiofor, saying that IPOB is rejecting that very report. I don't know the content, and he didn't even specify what the report is saying.
I think the point is this. Let's begin by allegation made by
Sorry, we don't have it.
No, I'll just maybe a minute. You know, when the prosecution, when the defense, and now the Kanu legal team said that Kanu is low on potassium, which is hypokalemia, dangerous one, multiple blood analysis according to what they have performed, and then we are issue of liver, kidney, pancreas, that these things are not functioning the way they should function, issue of organ strain, and some of these things. I think any human being should direct that examination be done, but examination cannot be done in DSS custody, because if you ask the NMA to conduct such examination, where would they conduct it? Would they go to DSS custody? Is DSS custody hospital? Maybe they have clinic facility in that hospital, but is that hospital? I think we should be more like human in this very country, show human face in most of the things we are doing. The young man has not been convicted. Even the law presuming to be innocent. He is presumed innocent, but certain rights and freedoms have been cut by court because it's undergoing trial. The same court should also look inwards to see that it is somebody who is alive that stands trial. We are talking about very vital organs in the body. Why what's so difficult to ask that any hospital in Nigeria he chooses? You can't tell somebody kind of hospital. You have right to select or choose where to go for this, but court can restrict that right. But I'm saying that it is fundamental that we allow justice to prevail in this case.
Right, join the conversation. Put a call across to 0803-221-6973 or 0803-827-6694. We are low on time, so you have to go straight to the point. Be as objective as possible. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Chisom. Good morning, Tony Olisa Mbeki.
Good morning. You're welcome.
Of the claim the house. The rest of Honorable Mayor Okuchukumu Kulolo Tendo from Unobi Story. Can I go on?
Please go on.
Yes, let me first of all talk about this case saga. This has been a very big problem in Nigeria. Like Tony Olisa Mbeki said, that many Nigerian politicians, Sais Uruwale and President. I don't know the reason why the House of Assembly and the lawmakers of Nigeria will not look into this matter and put a very strict measure on this, that we know this type of nonsense will stop. Anyway, that is by the way. Let me speak about Mazen and the Kano. You see, this is what we are saying in this country. The way and manner the government of Nigeria is handling anything that pertains Igbo is very, very bad. How can you tell me that somebody tries it online and BSS ground telling us that very healthy, while other institutions are saying that he has problems? Let me sound it as a warning. Like Olisa Mbeki said, this man has not been convicted, and this is infringing on his fundamental right. Let them be very, very careful about this man, Mazen Nande Kano. Let them grant him to go to take medical care in order to take care of himself. He's not running away. Mazen Nande Kano, I know, he's not running away. He wants his to be treated. And let them be fast about it. I don't know the reason why they have not treated this case and end it since 2021. God have mercy on us. Thank you and God bless you. So the others will come in.
0803-221-6973. We also live on Facebook at Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning, my lady.
Good morning.
Good morning, Sir Tony Olisa Mbeki.
You're welcome.
And my friend Franklin. My name is Odazi. I'm reaching you from Ila, Delta State, Oshimiri North Local Government Area, South Nigeria, Igbo ethnic nationality. Please, for all that is good and decent and honest and sympathetic, I think Mr. President Tinubu, thy father of the nation, that is what God bestowed on you. You asked for it. You did, and God bless you. Can you extend that sympathy to Nnamdi Kanu? It is political or whatever you want to call through the court. The latest group of lawyers he got cannot be better. You can't get any better ones, Michael Zima. And this last one, please do the needful. Now it has become needful, and I am particularly appealing to you with good conscience. Do that. Thank you. Then, to the issue of this our Najima. Is there anywhere in our constitution that says you must have a master's degree, a doctoral, a DSc attached to any political appointment you applied or you needed or you won in an election? Is there anywhere like that in our constitution? I'm not sure there is. Please, if there is, Satoni, you can let us know about it. Especially for these people who have voting ambition, uneducated minds with voting ambition, all in the name of going to contribute in the country that is already bleeding from reckless corruption. since the rising issues of annoying corruption, and we say it's politics. How can you be a thief, outright thief, pathological thief? You begin to forge papers. Okay, you want to forge papers from a university. It got so bad that even those that went to university are also saying that they should have given him his, what is that thing they keep saying? They should give him his, institution should give him his transcript. Where do they give any budget his transcript by hand? And you know the line easy. This country, please, leave Nigeria alone now. If you don't like Nigeria, you don't have to be anything to be somebody. I didn't hear where they go say DSC, the other man that don't cast, DSC. No! And there are huge successes. I've seen countries where people didn't even have up to school certificates and they become president. But they didn't lie about it. They didn't go cheating about it. We become pathological liars that is so painful. Have yourself a good day. I'm not one. Thank you.
Good morning. Are you there? Hello?
Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Chisom. Good morning, my Honorable Speaker, Tony Mbeki.
You're welcome.
And Franklin. I did the voice of Honorable Sokoe from our Kingdom.
Go ahead, please.
But I'm for new now. See, it's clear to me now why our government and this government are not performing. Starting from APC, from the onset of this party, APC. Remember, our former president, next president, Buhari, was accused of forged birth certificate, and they maneuver it over. He became the president of his country, and nothing. He did nothing. This time we need people who are learned to take care of this country. It's good to go to school so that you make good policies. See the policy Buhari made during his time. And that policy, the first week he made that policy of dollar money exchange, that day, before that dollar started rising. And the same policy was made in this very President Tinubu. He was accused of forging some certificates. He took office. He made another policy on subsidy that catapulted this country into a very serious situation. This was only the brilliant people. See their ministers. And also, all those things. When will Nigerians put a round ball in a round hole?
They should be rounding off now.
But lastly, coming to car issue. I followed Carl during the DSS accusing him, or when the DSS was talking all what he did. But within, after they just give their evidence, the lawyers of Nandika cross-examined the DSS. During the course of the examination, the DSS they deny many things. You have to say they don't know. They don't know. Gulak was killed on the Nandika order. But then Gulak was killed was on Sunday. So all those things, many things say people should meet. It did not meet the court. So even the lawyer and the judge, the confess to be made by Nankar, the trial over trial, the court confirmed it and ruled that all this trial, all the testimony of Nankar cannot be taken by the court because he was forced to do it. No lawyer, no person there.
I have to let you go at this point. Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Yes,
Go ahead, please. Make it snappy.
Yeah, issue of weekend night. I think if they have time to go beyond the certificate and look for certificate, something you can produce. Because as far as I'm concerned, the successful people in the world, they are not educated. Talk about Maldives, the girls, the Lord Dangote, most of them. And if you go to China, most of them are even not, they don't know how to use that. But they are knowledge in technology. Because of this certificate, people are running head and to. There is difference between speaking grammar and speaking. So I had time to look into inward what somebody is capable of doing, and not only based on certificate, how you get certificate. And that's how some countries are moving forward. That was what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you for your contribution. Good morning.
Good morning, this morning, my speakers. My name is Honorable Chimugome. I come back from people.
We can barely hear you. We are getting some sort of howl back from your end. Turn down the volume on your radio set, please.
Okay, do you hear me now?
We are getting an echo, but please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Let me just say something very clear here. Concerning the issue of resignations, Naji resigned honorable here in Nigeria, no matter what. I know that some people may see it as a person that is not a crooked person. No. The person resigned honorable, and I buy the idea. I didn't that others are following these steps. Nigeria could have been a better place to live.
All right.
Concerning the issue of Nnamdi Kanu, let me say something very clear here. This is what our people are using for political issues, for Christ's sake. Because Tinubu cannot release Nnamdi Kanu. The reason I say this is that Tinubu wants Northerners voters. And this is the people that hold Nnamdi Kanu captive. They are Northerners. And Tinubu will listen to them before, and even the Chieftain will listen to
Tony,
them.
can you hear what he's saying? Would you want to react to that? I have to let you go at this point. Some clarity, Tony. He's a legend that President Tinubu cannot let Nnamdi Kanu go because Northerners are the ones holding him captive. But I recall we've also explained why President Tinubu cannot just let him go, at least until his trial has been completed.
I think, just like we have said this many times, I don't want to going back and forth over this. These are cheap,
theories, conspiracy theories.
Can't call it hypothesis. It can be too hypothetical. The president, from the look of things, you listened to Lex Oti the other day. You remember what he said, that engagements have begun in earnest. That he said that Nnamdi cannot be released anytime soon. So if you believe in Oti, would you also say what Oti is saying is not true? What the president wants is political commitment. Terms and conditions must be met. Because people are saying he should be released unconditionally. Political solution does not involve releasing somebody unconditionally. It is only court that will release unconditionally. But the point remains here that there will be some commitments. Commitment in the sense that there are people that are going to take him on bail. The governor of Anambra State has said he will take him on bail any day, anytime. Oti has also said he's going to take him on bail. But there are things that the country would want to extract from him. If he leaves, will he go back to begin what he's doing, to start running this issue of self-determination in the way and manner he's running it by moving around? These are some of the things that the president would also want to be satisfied with. If you say that the Northerners are the ones holding him, Buhari is late. Before now, it was Buhari and all that. So the point remains that as a president of a country, they still believe that it's a security risk, especially issue of unity and indivisibility of the country. But the truth remains that self-determination is a fundamental right, but it depends on the way you go about it. So it's a conspiracy theory, as you said, and it's more like being hypothetical. So the president is waiting for those he would extract those commitments in many forms, in many ways. It's going to be a marathon. but political solution is the only way out of this.
All right, Franklin, let's see what is being said on Facebook.
Yes, Bazalugu says selective justice and political loyalty in Nigeria. In Nigeria, truth often depends on who is in power and who chooses to play along. Take the case of Uchen Naji, the Minister of Science and Technology. He is suddenly facing allegations, not necessarily because justice suddenly woke up, but because he has fallen out with the state governor, Peter Mba. And he said, let's be honest, had it been he maintained loyalty and played along with Governor Peter Mba, nobody would have remembered that this man was once associated with Forge Front.
Were they even ever friends?
But now that there is a political disagreement, old files are opening. And he says this is how our system works, selective exposure. The other things he wrote, which I can't go on to do now because we have to manage our time. Which Yobi says, my simple question to Tony is, do you think this is political? Secondly, somebody said that the VC of UNN is a member of the PDP. Ugochukwu Frank says, I was even incredibly perturbed how he even gets screened and confirmed by the Senate despite providing his academic qualifications. One would expect our domestic intelligence operatives to give a holistic investigation. Ugochukwu Frank added that it's undiscerning for May Abamuche taking up this role. She should focus more on protecting her integrity and her undivided responsibility in as much as to avert future problems, just like the case similar to Humphrey Nwosu, letting corrupt politicians using her as their instrument. Also, Francis Omaga Namani from Enugu State says the certificate scandals involving the minister should serve as a lesson to our political leaders. People should be fair, just, and credible in their dealings. And Anoms Emmy says any elected governor group or politicians in a political party different from the one he or she is elected into. Okay, I think he's talking about people who are defecting, and he's saying anybody who leaves the party under which he's elected and goes to another person is an amateur politician. That's the way he put it. Obinna Moaba says Igbos fighting themselves all over the country. Nobody heard anything from the Chicago University and our president, but our people, instead of representing us in the country, they are there fighting each other. Clement Odife says, you guys are doing well, but please make time. Okay, thank you. You guys spend much on, all right, okay, we got that. We spend much time on the other issues. And he says Igbos are not serious about getting Nnamdi Kanu out. He posted from Abagana. Christian Onyedikwa says, so okay, he's asking Tony, help me answer this question. Yakubu given CON, what of Festus Okoye and others? Are they not in this work together, or do they don't go the same year? Okay, gonna says Nigerian government should allow Nnamdi Kanu to go on medical check. His health is important to us. Oba Anthony Nkem says, I'm proud of the resigned minister Uchen Naji. Instead of waiting for court to sack him, and Governor Bajon APC is no longer news. It's much awaited because the news began before Governor Eno of Akwa Ibom State. Anyway, he's one of the performing governors in this current dispensation. All I wish them is best of luck. And then Michael Child is watching from Obosi. And then other reactions we have on our Facebook page is coming from a particular post, the picture post we made, which we have a couple of other reactions then, but I won't be able to acknowledge them now because the time is way far away from us. But I need to mention your name so that you know that we're catching up with your post. Okay, so we always appreciate all you have done. Talking about Okoye Angoleka and Dr. Mrs. Malebara.
All right, gentlemen, this is where we get to take down the curtain. Tony, what would your last words be?
I don't know if I have any question there, but if
I think you answered already.
I think somebody was asking something about the issue of national honor given to
Yakubu.
Given to Yakubu. So he was asking why didn't Mr. President honor Festus Okoye, the former National Commissioner on Voters Education and what have you. I remember when Atahiru Jega left, he was honored. Officer of the Federal Republic. I think he was given that honor by President Muhammad Buhari. Even when Humphrey Nwosu, we talked about, he was posthumously by Mr. President. Mr. President conferred on him CON. And I was shouting here, why didn't Mr. President give him CFR? But what Mr. President conferred on Yakubu Mahmoud is, I think, CON. CON. So CON is much more bigger than OFR given to Atahiru Jaga. Buhari gave Atahiru Jaga OFR. Tinubu gave that of Mahmoud Yakubu CON, and Humphrey Nwosu CON. Humphrey Nwosu and then Mahmoud, they are not in the same class. So that was why I was shouting that period that he should be given CFR. But it is the prerogative of Mr. President through the Honors Council to do some of these things. So it's just what he decides to do.
All right. Thank you, Tony, for being a part of today's show. Franklin.
Right. I'm awaiting the content of that report which NMA submitted to the AGF, because I know that what the court directed was that court said that about a panel should be constituted by NMA, and that panel should be made up about 8 to 10 doctors, and the doctors from different geopolitical zones should be represented in that very panel, and then they can choose any health facility to go and do their medical tests, and also check the DSS facility to know whether it can take care of the health or the health challenge of Kano. Then submit the report within 8 days. So I'm hoping that in the coming days we'll be able to know the content, to know the next thing for Kano, whether he's going to go to National Hospital for Medicare or he's going to remain with DSS. Then on the final notes, on a sad note, yesterday we talked about the rain that fell yesterday, the downpour, and we talked about the kind of havoc it wreaked. The sad story this very morning is that the woman who was swept away in Newe, the body has been found.
Sad.
And it's quite a sad one.
All right, then, big shout out to Governor Soludo, who yesterday awarded 10 million to Waliwo Primary School for winning the best school in Nigeria. And he also awarded 5 million naira each to the teachers in the state who won any of the top positions at the Presidential Best Teacher Award for 2022 to 2025. And he also amazingly instituted that 5 million naira would be awarded to any teacher that will win top positions at the Presidential Best Teacher Award henceforth. Also, there are going to be annual Anambra Teachers Awards going forward to reward and recognize outstanding and excellent teachers in the state. Like I said yesterday, I look forward to a day when the reward of teachers would be here on earth and not in heaven. Thank you for being a part of today's show. See you tomorrow. I am Chisom Chinedu.